meeting this October 1st, 2019, on my anniversary, 5 o'clock. It's Scott's birthday too. I'm going to ask Stephanie if she would introduce our special guest who's going to read some indication in our pledge of allegiance tonight. And after that, sharing her with us, if everyone would rise for that.
Good evening, everyone. Chairman and board members, tonight we have Ms. Lizzie Lewis, who is a 10th grade 4-H member that attends South Effingham High School. She serves as the Vice President of Member Services on the 4-H leadership team. Lizzie is an active 4-H member who stays involved in 4-H programs on the county and district level. Lizzie is also a Georgia 4-H certified team leader. Lizzie, if you would lead us in the pledge, followed by the invitation.
Please remove any hats. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunities that you've provided us with and allowing us all to come here today. Thank you for the leadership these commissioners have offered to our community. Please give your blessings on this meeting today and guide them in their decision making. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Please remain standing for the pledge and remember that there is no pause between one nation and under God. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4, consideration to a resolution to approve the agenda. Motion.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. Motion by Mr. George, second Mr. Wilson to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye. All opposed no. We have our agenda. Item number 5, consideration to approve the September 17th, 2019 regular commissioner meeting minutes. Whether we need to approve an accurate representation of our meeting. Do you have any corrections or additions?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second. Motion by Mr. George, second Mr. Whipper to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor say aye. All opposed no. And it carries. And welcome our public tonight. We have a good crowd. That's always great to have participation in our meetings. I ask you tonight, if you speak to an item that needs to be to the agenda only, if you'd like to make a presentation, just contact our office and we can arrange that. All the documents are located in our clerk's office. They're on our website. Everyone has had an opportunity to review those and is prepared to participate in the appropriate time in agenda items. I would ask you to keep your comments on agenda items to 2 to 3 minutes. That will help anyone else who wants to speak to that item be able to have time to speak to it without prolonging the meeting. So we appreciate your efforts with this as we move forward. With that, we have a special recognition tonight. Andrea McIntosh. And I asked her if she would come to the microphone. That's her Board of Commissioners. They will join you down front to make a special presentation. We'll go back to take a picture, but let's stay right here for just a moment. Andrew, we just want to recognize you and give you this plaque of appreciation for a job well done. It's always good when folks in public safety put that extra effort and go the extra mile, and it saves lives. We appreciate it. So the Board of Commissioners of Effingham County, Georgia, the Effingham County Board of Commissioners, honor you, Andrea McIntosh, for your excellence in service on September 9, 2019. To answer the call of duty as a public safety officer is most admirable. We celebrate you for your commitment and dedicated service to our citizens in Effingham County on this day and every day, presented this 1st of October, 2019. Thank you so much. I need to get down. Yes. Thank you so much. Ms. McIntosh, again, we really appreciated that service. Item number 9 on the agenda is the City of Rankin has a presentation for us this evening.
That's at 5:30.
Little early, you want to do something else?
Well, is Rankin prepared, ready? Can we move forward, or we? Okay, if it's prepared, ready to report, let's go ahead and do that.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Chairman, things kind of in the wrong way here. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, we thank you all for the opportunity in the City of Rankin to come speak with you all this evening on our proposal to continue fire protection coverage in our fire district. As you all know, I'm Paul Wendelkin, City Councilman, Corey Ron, Fire Chief. With us today, I'm not sure who all was able to get here, Mayor Ken Lee, Councilman Kevin Exley, Councilman James Dasher, City Manager John Clem, Assistant Fire Chief Pete Smith, Captain Lou Reed.
Longtime firefighter Gary Coe.
I saw Gary earlier, that's right. Gary's over here. I believe we had previously sent this to y'all already. We made kind of some last minute changes yesterday afternoon. It didn't really. 3, 4, 6. Tim, did you get one earlier? The change is mainly just to clarify some language that we probably didn't make too clear in the initial. Basically, it won't take up much of your time. We'll just kind of go over this, and if there are any questions or comments, we'll be glad to entertain that as well. As you all know, the fire service is one of many services being negotiated with Effingham County under service delivery. Considering the aforementioned, our proposal is as follows. Year 1, no change in the coverage area. The county this year is currently going to pay Rankin in the neighborhood of $625,000. I think that was our budget request. I think y'all's budget goes up to potentially $727,000, if I remember from some of the service delivery conversations. During this time, the county will construct a fire station in the Hodgeville area. Keep in mind, we, from y'all's initial documents to us, we understand what you're wanting done in the district, and this proposal attempts to do that just as y'all were going to try to do if you covered it as well. In year 2, Rankin will provide coverage with 2 full-time personnel at the Goshen Station and the new Hodgeville Station. The City of Rankin will provide fire equipment and furnishings for personnel at the new Hodgeville Station. The county will pay the City of Rankin $850,000 for this coverage. Year 3, Rankin will continue to provide the coverage for the entire fire district currently covered, with stations 1, 3, and 5 covered with 2 full-time personnel at each station. Rankin stations 2 and 4 will be operated as volunteer stations. County will pay the City of Rankin $850,000. That's meeting the needs that y'all documented to us of wanting personnel at the Goshen Station, personnel at the Hodgeville Station. Year 4, no change to year 3 in coverage or personnel. Contract price will remain $850,000. Year 5, no change to year 4 in coverage or personnel. Contract price will remain $850,000. Upon completion of this contract, the City of Rankin will be prepared to move back into the city limits, and Effingham County Fire Rescue will be providing coverage for all the unincorporated areas. In one of the workshops that we had, there was discussion of an end date for this, so we've tried to meet that requirement within this. Continuing on under year 5, this will leave at least 2, by our calculations, ISO Class 10. That's what I've always known about, whatever the new Class 10, whatever they're calling it now, areas that will have to be negotiated. One being in the Station 4 area, the backside of Timbergate subdivision. The second being the Station 1 area in the back of Hickory Knob. The City of Ringgold is willing to negotiate a contract for these areas separately. This still leaves Station 2 to be determined by Effingham County as to whether to purchase Station 2 or contract with City of Ringgold for coverage in the Ebenezer area. This agreement would be valid until midnight, December 31st, 2024. Now you'll notice here we get into the red. This was something that was not in the original document sent to you all. We thought we had it kind of clarified, and in looking back at it, we needed to be a little more clear on it. There will be an additional $425,000 owed for the period of July 1st to December 31st, 2024. This is due to the difference in our budget timeframes. The county's being on a fiscal budget July 1st to June 30th, and the city being on a calendar budget January 1st through December 31st. If we did not account for that, there's going to be a gap in either coverage or payments of the last 6 months. In addition, the City of Ringgold will be able to provide an amortized transition period if needed. This will be after December 31st, 2024. If it were a situation, things don't always go like they're supposed to go. Theoretically, we would pull out 11:59 p.m., y'all would pull in at 12:01 a.m. That doesn't always work. If we need to handle it for another month, 3 weeks, whatever after that, that's negotiable. So then we get to our chart, and there may be some questions on the chart. Corey put the chart together, so I'll let him answer questions. Year 1, as we mentioned earlier, $625,000. The total cost to Effingham County would be the $625,000 to us and $550,000 for the new station in the Hodgeville area. From what we can tell, y'all have that budgeted already in this year's budget. I'm not sure if that's the exact amount or what, but it's close. Year 2, we would be at $850,000. In total cost to Effingham County, $857,500. Corey, do you want to speak to what?
There's no big difference there. The biggest change is where we get the $857,500 is from numbers that was sent to us with the first option that you give us. If you add the 380 that was contracted plus the 455, I believe it is. Basically, when you add, I got it right. When you add those numbers together, is where that $857,500 come from. And then the year 3, our number's $850,000, and the number that was given to us from y'all's option was $1,048,500. Year 4, our number remained the same. I literally added 5% for a budget increase to y'all's number. And year 5, the same thing. Our number stays the same, and there was another 5% increase because we know, I know from the history, budgets increase, they don't decrease, typical. With that being said, over the 5-year period, just in operation costs alone, this is going to save the county almost $1 million over the 5 years. As well, that's not including capital equipment. If you have to go ahead and buy the capital equipment to fulfill those 2 stations within this 5 years, you're looking at another $1 million+ that we're actually saving the citizens of Effingham County for the next 5 years.
A couple more items. Historically, we are the only fire department that's ever covered that district, ever. So we'd like to keep that coverage area. I'm sure the question is going to be, why do you show our column going up and your column doesn't? simply because the increase that we'll need to operate our total fire budget is going to come from the city of Rankin. So we understand there will be additional budget requirements for the city. One thing that we've never done is delineate this is a county-only fire truck, and this is a city-only fire truck, or these are city-only personnel, and this is county-only personnel. If we need it to go to the furthest reaches of the district, it'll go. By the same token, these stations that may be in the district, if they're needed in the city limits of Rankin, they'll come. That's just how we've always operated. One other benefit that's provided to the county is that in the years we've laid out, we can actually get the full-time personnel that y'all want at these other stations there approximately a year earlier than I think y'all's plan allowed for. The other issue for us is a standpoint of going back into the city. We anticipate losing volunteers. We've got Gary Kohler and Pete Smith here tonight that do not live in the city limits of Rankin. They've been with Rankin forever, and I would like to think
30+ years.
that they would keep volunteering with us. But when they know that we can't even respond to their own houses, I don't know how long they'll want to continue providing the coverage to the city at that point. So we believe that we've done what you requested, and we've heard from the beginning, it doesn't matter to us if y'all cover it or we cover it. We want to see who can do it, the most effective coverage for the most efficient price. And we believe we've met your requirements of staffing and coverage, and we believe that we can do it at this point for the next 5 years at a lower price than what y'all can do it for yourselves. This is not written in stone. This is a proposal, just as Mr. Chairman told us that some of your responses to us have been proposals. We don't want to lose the district. We want the public to know that we want to continue to serve that district. As I said, we're the only ones that's ever served it. We'd like to continue to do that. If this needs to be adjusted, we would definitely be interested in talking with you about that. There are always things that come up, and we would like to reserve the right to adjust this under certain conditions. Some of us were at a meeting this afternoon where we were talking about big things, and I don't know that either side has accounted for those things in this. Chairman, some things we were talking about this afternoon. So we would like to reserve the right to do an add-on or an adjustment or something if some of those things come about. There may be some questions, further questions about the stations, Corey, that may be left, the areas that may be left
Right.
as a class 2.
Right. Is there any questions on the particular 2 areas that come up as class 10s through the proposals of once we move back in the city?
I don't have any questions, board member. I figured those are some things that our chief can answer for us as we review this proposal. I got one quick question to volunteers.
Yes, sir.
We have automatic aid between the two, so why would they not be able to still service their houses?
Well, under the current contract, that's not allowed. So that would have to be negotiated.
What you mean it's not allowed? I mean, they're automatic aid, so
Automatic aid, they are, yes, under automatic aid. But if there's a brush fire, you don't get automatic aid.
oh, I got you.
So if it's a heart attack or something, you don't get auto aid.
I mean,
So
so first responder type calls.
yes.
Okay.
Well, first responders, auto accidents, stuff like that.
I appreciate this. This is good information. I think we need to look at it with our staff and the cost savings that you're projecting here and see how that works out with Christie and our finances and all, and communicate back with you. It's good information. You can report on any other questions about it. I will say while they're thinking about questions is that we have 2 quality fire departments. And y'all do an excellent job in the service delivery. So,
And we'd like to-
we're looking for what's efficient, responsive, effective.
We'd like to keep that tradition.
You are considering it. But what's he looking for is efficient, responsive to the
Right.
citizens. And we did hear your, concern about doing it too fast.
As far as responses in that area, we consider ourselves second to none.
We probably consider ourselves second to none too.
I understand. I understand.
Still got two number ones.
That's right.
So
We're trying to continue that.
And one clarification on the volunteers. One of the things this does, it allows for us to build up our paid staff for that transition. And it's not having to hire, 6, 9, 12 people in the next year and then hit our citizens with a large increase to make up that difference.
Well, I do like the fact that you got 4, so you get 6 full-time firefighters, 24/7.
Right.
You know, one of our goals is to get 4 firefighters.
Absolutely, and
in the area that can-
we tried to do-
the roads will be able to respond even more efficiently.
Yeah, and we tried to do that in a timely manner to try to get them on the boots on the street quicker than the original proposal.
Any questions from the commission? I don't know why we won't be able to look at this over the next couple of weeks and get back with you and tell you what we're thinking. We've got several months before, many months before we make any final decision, so we'll keep working and hearing out the most efficient as possible. Agree with you?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Guys. Thank you for
Commissioner.
coming tonight and present this and good. Once again, thank you for your service this year and service, whatever future service that you provide. Thanks.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
y'all.
Chairman. On a side note, if I leave early, I'm not being rude. I got an 800 soccer game at 5:50, so.
No problem. You don't have to stay, it's just one tonight. Okay.
Have any comment?
Sure.
I'd just like to say, the city is great. I like to see us work really closely with you guys and find something that fits both of us. And I speak for everybody here that feels the same way. We really appreciate you guys, and we should be functioning as one unit, and I think we'll be able to do that.
Yeah, it was kind of fun that Paul talked about earlier. We went to a meeting talking about some development work on that, but they were talking about how the city in Lincoln County and all the cities need to be on common pay with us. We are. You guys need to be on common pay. We know we've agreed to what we're doing, so that was good to have that meeting today. So
Yes, sir.
good teamwork on that. Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move to our consent agenda, item number 10. 2 items on our consent agenda, consideration to approve sanitation releases as submitted by administrative staff and approved by the fire chief. And then item number 2, consideration to approve fire releases as submitted by administrative staff and approved by the fire chief.
Make a motion to approve this statement.
Second.
Motion of Mr. Worker to approve the consent agenda items. Second by Mr. Deloach. All those say aye. All opposed, no. That carries. Then we move to our old business. Item number 1 under old business. The planning board recommends approving an application by Derek Jenkins to establish a rural business use for a basic mechanic shop to be located at 765 Zitwell Road, map number 374, parcel number 26B in the first district. And, let's see, this is, we tabled this at the last meeting, right?
Right, I just said I want to ride out and take a look at the property. I rode out there yesterday, and took a look at it. Mr. Jenkins is on family property, he's in between his father and his uncle. He's on county road frontage, and when you enter the property, it winds back through some trees until it opens up. He's got ample room, I don't think he'll have any problems back there. He understands the limitations of 1,000 square feet to operate the business, and he also understands that if he grows, so he can't meet those limitations, he'll have to move, and it will shut him down.
Okay. Appreciate you following up on that. I see we have a public hearing on this, and looking at public hearing, is that still in order? Is it started last time?
I thought we had the public hearing, it was just,
I just noticed it said public hearing on the side.
It is a public hearing.
Okay, so let's open the public hearing and see if anyone else wants to speak for this variance. This is a variance, right? For rural business.
Rural business.
Yes, commercial use.
And if you want to bring up the questions, or do you have the public hearing?
Yes, to the public hearing, we will go to the board, finish the discussion, bring up any questions. Anyone not speaking for this, any new information, really what I'm looking for? Anyone here not speaking against this rural business? See, we want to close the public hearing. Yes, we have any questions?
Yeah, if you would, Mark. How would you be, you said the majority of what you're going to be doing is commercial trucks. What, how would you be acquiring your customers? How would you gain customers?
How would I gain customers? Just getting out on the street with, I mean, we've been in business doing mobile business. So I have a customer base and a clientele already, which involves a lot of the county and some without the county. So I already have a clientele base. It's just trying to grow my business and make it more suitable and financially stable for
You
my.
said part of your base is some of the surrounding folks in the area.
Yes.
Farm tractors, such things as that you be working on as well.
Yes.
Can you keep your business in 1,000 square feet? That's not very much reading through
Yes, sir.
for a rural business, and you understand that?
Yes, sir.
1,000 square feet.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, I have a
Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the request, the staff and planning board recommendations. Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Mr. Kiefer, to approve the rural business with staff and planning board recommendations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
Yeah.
So, let the record show Mr. Burdette doesn't know, and that everyone else will say yes. Move to the second reading, consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Derek Jenkins to establish a rural business use for a basic mechanic shop to be located.
Mr. Chairman, we're going to have to delay the second reading that week,
I'm sorry.
because without a unanimous.
Yeah, you don't have an unanimous vote.
So there's to next meeting. All right, second reading will be October 15th.
Mr. Chairman, I need to recuse myself on item 3 and 4 on property next to the subject property and the applicant is small.
So let us show that Mr. Deloach has recused himself and stepping down from the public for the comments and back there for that area. So item number 3 is the planning board recommends approving an application by Floyd Zettler to rezone 3.41 acres located on Sister Ferry Road from AR1 to AR2, map number 386, parcel number 2 and 3 in the 3rd district. I'll open the public hearing and see if there's anyone else wanting to speak for this. Any additional information? Anyone tonight speaking against this rezone?
Valerie Everett. The only issue that I have with the rezoning is how Mr. Zettler intends to access the property. If approved, I would like for it to include the planning board stipulation that he install a driveway so that he has his own access for his own property.
Can we make that part of stipulation in a zoning request, or is that different items?
I think that's a private agreement that she would have with Mr. Zettler. Because otherwise, it's going to put the burden on the county to try to enforce that at some point if he doesn't do it. I made recommendations for language to put on the plat so the easement would stay as it's located, but Mr. Zettler is going to be responsible for actually granting that easement if it ever becomes necessary, because right now, he's not going to need an easement because he's going to own both parcels. But when he goes to sell, whoever he sells to, he's going to have to grant that easement where it's located, or he's going to come back here and get permission to relocate. It's his option at the with the approval of the county.
So that's really.
Can-
I got a stipulation.
Go ahead, we'll get to the, he's got a stipulation on that.
Let him read what me and you talked about, I'm good with.
You good with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna go with, staff reviewed this and they recommended 4 stipulations, and I'm gonna add one to it. The access road to be installed before final approval of 1 through 4, which staff recommended. Do you want me to read them?
No, I just want to make sure that's not against what the contract.
I don't really know what he's referring to. I sent it to our zoning director. The note to put on the plat, that states what will happen to the easement in the future. If it's granted, it's going to go to Mr. Zettler to grant the easement. Just because it's put on the plat doesn't mean it's going to be a valid easement right now because he owns both parcels.
If he puts that 6-foot easement where he had it last meeting, that will cover all that. The 6-foot easement will be on his land.
Right. The easement can stay as it was presented at the last meeting, as it exists on the plat, the actual drawing of the easement. But he would still have to grant the easement when he sells the property, because right now, if he's going to keep both parcels and rent one of them out, they're just crossing his own land. And they could use any area on his own land to get there. But the plat note that I recommended basically states that Mr. Zettler would have to grant the easement in the future. And if he wants to change the location of it, he'd have to come back before the board to change the location of it.
I think we're setting an enormous precedent dictating locations of easements. It's one thing to dictate size of an easement.
And you don't have a 6-foot easement there.
Well, as I'm saying, he doesn't need it now. That was the whole issue at the last meeting. He doesn't need an easement now. Unless he was going to sell it tomorrow, he would need an easement.
But there is not even a drive.
But the only thing that changed before is that he's got to go ahead and build a road in there before we okay this final approval on it.
And that's just to keep them off her property, an access, true access.
If he would be going across his own property, I don't think he's going across your property, right?
He will be, yes.
Unless he does his own access road.
Because he currently has no driveway for
So
the
if he-
2 parcels.
So if he builds the
wants.
driveway, then that
He-
takes care of that, which is what
Yes.
he
The
has.
6-foot easement will be on his land.
Right, and that's what's on the plat that we had last time. My whole point last time was, he's not granting the easement right now, he's not selling the property. He doesn't need an easement to access his own property, whether he's living there or he's renting the property. He doesn't need an easement for that. But in the future, he's gonna have to grant someone an easement if he sells that landlocked parcel. And what I'm saying is, I would recommend that it's in accordance with our ordinance to have language on the plat that requires them to actually grant the easement when that time comes. So we don't have a landlocked piece of property in the future. So the easement, as he has it situated, that will be the one that he will grant. Unless he changes his mind, then he'd have to come back in front of the board to make a different location. That's why I say at this point, we can't approve a side agreement between these 2 landowners about where that easement's going to go. That's not it's not within our purview to do that.
All they're asking for though is just the road itself, so he has access without going on her land. And that's
But
what.
she's not going to use this, she is not going to use this new road. All that new road is on his land.
Right, I understand that. That's what I'm saying is the 60 feet that's shown on the plat is okay. He just can't grant that today because he's not selling his property. So he's not giving that easement to anybody. You can't have an easement.
You don't need to
He's just
grant
gonna build his own
easement.
driveway on his own property.
Yeah, it's
So we don't have to put anything right
On
on
the
it.
neighbor.
But anybody, if he got a 6-foot easement there, you can have up to 3 houses on a 60-foot easement. If he puts that easement in there, it's good for 3 different properties on there, and he's not gonna have 2 on it. Is that
Right now,
right?
he doesn't need it.
That's correct.
So-
If he were selling 3 parcels or 2 parcels today, yeah. I mean, that easement there, he's going to grant it, it's going to be in the deed, it's going to transfer to the person that's buying it, so they have legal access to that parcel. But right now, I don't think that's the intent from what I'm hearing, is it's going to stay with Mr. Zettler. I guess he's going to rent that property, And really, he owns the parcel in front of it, so he can put an easement, or really drive where he wants at this point.
He just
Because
can't,
it's his
he can't put a
land.
driveway on her property, obviously, but.
Yeah, he just needs a driveway for those two parcels, because the larger parcel that has an established driveway, he's selling it. And so when he sells it, there will be no way for the renters to access the two parcels.
Unless he puts it in.
Without-
If he sells any of them, he'll have to give them access
Have
to
to get
it.
access. And that's what I was trying to say last time. I think there's two issues. One is just the rezoning, what it qualifies for. The other is the driveway and easements that go along with that. That's gonna have to come at a future date when he sells the property, and people need to accept that. That's what we
Right now, you can
But
stipulate.
I think the issue is the current easement he has through your property, correct? That's your concern.
Let me see if I can clarify this.
In the mic.
State your name.
My name is Floyd Zettler. And to me, we're making something complicated that don't need to be complicated. Look, I think the thing that maybe you don't understand, there's a discrepancy here. This is my neighbor, I love her, and I'm not gonna do anything to her. The easement is on somebody else's property that we utilize now. It's been that way for 100 years. I'm going to put the road in to service the two renters. That will relieve the problem that she has. To me, that's real plain and simple. And I understand what you're saying, that down the road, I would have to give the back piece of property an easement going out.
Yeah, you would need to grant them the easement you're proposing, but what you have now, that's really no concern of the county.
I understand.
Easement, we're not giving any sort of credence to that. We're not discussing that. So
Okay.
I'm well aware of what's going on. I've actually looked at it.
Okay.
So we're not making something big out of something little. We just want to get it right so we don't come back here in 3 years when you sell and everybody has a different version or memory of what we actually did. So that's why I recommend that what I have for the plat, that our zoning director can read in a minute, to be put on the plat, so that way nobody has amnesia, everybody's gonna know what their responsibility is when it gets to that point. Because it's easy right now, but in 5 years, if you go to sell, that's when we're gonna have a different issue. Because we're not gonna remember what happened today. But if it's on that plat, we're gonna know.
Whoever buys it, he's got to give them easement to get to it to be landlocked.
I know that, that's what I've been saying today, and the last time we met, I realized that.
That's why you had the language on the plat, so that's just an automatic thing. In the future, it makes it easy. And if we just get a motion to approve it with what you want and what he wants with the plat.
But he doesn't have any problem doing that, putting it on there. If you sell that property, you don't give them the easement on it. Is that all you need?
That's all I need. I mean, I was stating simply that the 60-foot easement that's on the plat is not an easement until Mr. Zettler actually grants the easement when he sells the property. But I will language on the plat that states that the landowner understands his obligation to convey that easement when the time comes.
Is Mr. Zettler or?
I'll make a motion to reflect that.
Let's do this. I'm going to read what I think the attorney's looking for, which is alternative 1 with this added language. And if you agree with that, say, so the motion would be to approve the request to rezone 5.4 acres at 665 and 677 Sister Ferry Road from AR1 to AR2 to allow the property to be combined and re-subdivided for sale of the larger parcel with the stipulations recommended by the planning board and the following language will be added to the plat.
You ready? This/these lots or lots, is or is/are served by private road, not to be maintained by Effingham County nor accepted as a public road unless such road at the property owner's expense is brought in compliance with county standards as specified by Effingham County, including but not limited to paving. This/these lot or lots may not be re-subdivided until said road
at the subdivider's expense is brought into compliance with county road standards to be accepted as a public road by the Effingham Board of Commissioners. If the road remains private, all maintenance of the right-of-way or easement, including drainage and road surface, shall be the responsibility of the abutting property owners. The road surface shall be no less than 18 feet wide. Further, I/we understand that it shall be my/our responsibility to properly grant the easement shown on this plat by deed or separate easement agreement to any transferee of the property. The easement may serve no more than 3 lots. The original remaining parcel shall be included as one of the 3 lots. If location of easement on plat changes, I/we shall revise the plat and resubmit to Effingham County for approval. I/we understand that this subdivision and any easements are subject to all state and local ordinances and rules and regulations adopted by Effingham County. And then I'll have a date and signature.
All right, you got to add to that the road has to be installed before this is final. But you're leaving that out altogether.
That's in the she just wrote.
Okay.
This has to be done before you can subdivide.
Okay.
That's in there. Okay, so would someone make that motion?
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Okay.
And that's what I told you. She just made a long version of it.
You have a
You okay
motion?
with that?
I guess I would like to read that paper, but
Well,
Do we have a second?
that's in the same, some of the same stuff. The lot must meet these requirements, and it's got to meet these, and subdivision plan must be approved, and all this kind of stuff. I already agreed to that.
I want to clarify though, we're not requiring that the road, we're confusing an easement with a physical road. We're not requiring that, are we? In that motion? Okay. That's stepping a little far for me.
Easements for the future.
Just an easement.
He wants the easement. He wants the easement there, and then if he sells part of it, then and she says that.
For the future
He
stuff.
has to give them easement to go to use that road. But he's got
I just want to make sure I'm understanding what I'm voting on.
Yeah.
All the language in that note is from our ordinance.
it's,
There's nothing we're creating here tonight.
Okay. We need a second though before we do any more discussion. You have a second to that motion?
I made a motion.
You have a second? Yes, second, okay. So we've got a motion, you can see if there's any other question or discussion now.
Do you mind restating the motion? I'm sorry, I've got to understand.
No, it was long.
You don't have to read that.
Okay, well, the motion is to approve the request, okay, for this AR to AR1 to AR2, with stipulations recommended by the planning board, in addition to the language that an attorney has to be on the plat. Which he's instructed us is according to our ordinance.
And Mr. Loper added that the road would be built.
No.
That's where my hang up is. That's where my hang up is.
Okay, last time, he wanted a year to build the road, and I'm changing that. No, he can't wait for a year. He's got to build the road now before all this was final approval. That's all I know.
We're gonna make, what I'm saying, anytime we zone AR2 for subdivision, are we gonna require that the road be built in the time frame? I just wanna be consistent.
Well, those people, his relatives is going through somebody else's property. They're not going through his property. They're going through that lady's property and somebody else's
Well,
property.
they're trespassing. They'll be trespassing.
They're on the easement right now.
So they have legal rights. That's, I don't like it, I get it, but that's not our role. Does that make sense?
It does.
That's what we said.
Yeah, I mean, I hate it, but.
We're getting into something that we shouldn't be governing.
We can require the construction of the road or the easement to the property when that time comes. And this will require that. At that point, he'll come and get approval of that plat, where the road, the length, width, height, depth, will all be approved on the plat at that time.
What's on the plat now would be okay. That's the whole purpose of having a note. That's Mrs. Zepler's obligation to actually grant that easement. We're protecting another thing here, and that is 15 years down the road, when somebody holds up that plat and says, I have legal access. Well, unless he grants it, just because it's on the plat, it can be never granted. And it creates a whole other issue. But Commissioner Cooper, we're not requiring a road. We're allowing them to file a plat that shows this easement area, but it's not going to go into effect until he sells the property. And at that point, it's there, and that's how they will access that property.
I agree, but that's not what I'm hearing. I mean, I want to make sure I have a clear motion of what, say.
Yeah, Mr. Cooper, can I say something too? What he's doing and requesting is not even shown. He's coming through Mr. Harvey's property, which abuts right next door to her. So right on the property line between her and Harvey. But Harvey's giving him permission to drive on his land to get to this back piece.
And I think that's why I would really like for him to install his own driveway in order for it to be rezoned, because what the renters are using right now is not a legal easement. It's not. It is a beaten down path that has been there for, I don't know, 40, 100 years. And it goes directly through the middle of Alan Harvey's property. And the only reason that Alan Harvey is okay with that is because there's a friendship between Mr. Harvey and Mr. Zettler. But it has been told to me since Mr. Harvey bought the property, he told me this, the first encounter that I had with him, that he was going to clean that up. In so many words, he didn't say, I don't want these people coming through the middle of my yard, but that's the impression that I got. And he said to me that what he was going to do was he was going to, instead of having them come right through the middle of his property, he was going to push it out to the border of his property line, which is also my property line. Okay, and it's directly behind where my children play in the yard, their play set, their trampoline. We've lived there for 12 years. We play ball out in the yard. And now I'm looking at not just me coming through my yard for my house, I'm looking at, 3 other people trying to access their home now coming through the side of my yard. So I think that that is why it's so urgent that he put in a driveway for these 2 parcels of land, because he does have the road frontage. He does. He has it. He may want the time to be able to do that, but I would prefer that it be done 2 years ago when Mr. Harvey bought the property.
I think that what we're hearing, trying to get him out of the car and require that until he sells the property. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're not going to, it's a civil matter between 2 private individuals. I mean, he's stating he's going to do it. And if he's going to do it, I will just get with him. And
I just don't want to split it. Either we rezone it or not, but trying to split the baby is not going to work. That's my problem. Because I just don't think that's perfect.
Let me try this one more time. Let me see if
I understand.
I can understand.
Plain and simple. Y'all do what y'all need to do, and I'm trying to look at my neighbor and tell her, I'm going to put the drive in. Y'all just approve it, and I'll put the drive in. I mean, I don't know why it's got to be so complicated to y'all.
Mrs. Zettler, public hearing's been closed.
I'm sorry.
If you have questions, can we get you comment more, okay?
Yes, sir.
Sorry to cut you off, but we closed the public hearing. We were getting questions from the board of commissioners.
I want to be clear that we're doing a rezoning. I don't want a bunch of stipulations. I'm trying to keep it clean and simple. Either we do or we don't rezone, but.
All right. I'm going to try to do this one.
Our staff is the one that, stipulations that I put on here, staff is the one that came up with these.
Right, so
it was 4 stipulations, and I added 1 to it. So it's 5 stipulations on here, which staff recommended for this property.
The motion, though, is for the staff stipulations, plus the attorney has several members of the
Well, that was actually planning board's recommendations that included the 1 year.
Yes.
Staff reviewed the application and recommend approval with the following stipulations. Number 1, the lot must meet the requirements of the AR2 zoning district The site development plans must comply with the Effingham County Water Resource Protection Ordinance and the Stormwater Management Local Design Manual. All wetland impacts permitted by the United States Army Corps of Engineers, and subdivision plan must be approved by the Health Department and the zoning administrator. And I added one more to it, that the road had to be installed before final approval.
That's what they don't agree with.
That's what the attorney says we cannot do.
But he says that we can put it in there, that if he sells a piece of this property, then he has got to give them.
That's a different matter.
Right.
We're talking
That's
easement
in,
versus.
that's in his language, is you have to give an easement so they can put a driveway into that property if he sells it.
Well, we can't require them to put a driveway in upon rezoning.
It's a different matter.
We have to take him at his word, he said he would.
Because to our attorney's comment, it's a civil matter that they need to resolve as far as the access right now. But if he subdivides it, there will be an easement and there would have to be a separate driveway that's provided for them. And that language is in there if he sells it.
So we need a motion that covers these stipulations plus the new plat, and that's it.
That's it. That's the motion that we have.
Staff, complaint.
Well, he's already got a plat where he wants to put the road.
Right, but it has nothing to do with this. We can't police them to do a driveway.
Yeah, we can't. Our attorney's telling me we cannot let them put a driveway.
But he can put a driveway on his own property if he wants to.
If he wants to, yes. Yeah, if he wants to,
We
he can do
can't make
it.
him do it, is what we're saying.
All right, I'll change that. You don't have to put the driveway in. If you want to, put it in, but you don't have to. So my motion stands the same with the, whatever he said. What I just read, so just do away with the driveway and go back to where we were when we
Well,
started.
I don't think that's what we let them run down the driveway. We just said the motion is simply to approve the AR1 to AR2 to allow the property to be combined, re-subdivided for sale of the larger parcel with the stipulations recommended by the planning board. And the added language to the plat given to us by the attorney, which was read by our zoning administrator.
Are you going to remove item 5 that the staff planning board, which was
Just go with
drop
staff.
1 through 4?
Staff recommendations.
1
Staff
through 4.
recommendations is 4 stipulations.
1 through
Planning
4.
board requires.
That's recommended.
Plat, wordage for the plat, the wording for the plat. 1 through 4, the wording of the plat.
And all you had to do is just put what he said in there about if he sells any of it, then he's got to give away easement to the property.
Lee, are you
He's already
recommending
go
to
road.
number 5?
Is that what I'm doing for the road?
Number 5 says the driveway be installed from the access easement on Sisters Ferry Road within 1 year.
That doesn't need to be part of it.
So it would be staff recommendation. Otherwise, they're the same.
I'm saying instead of waiting a year,
Yes.
go ahead and put it in now before we have a final approval. So we know the road's there.
If we require number 5, be prepared for every rezoning for us to have to explain to people where they can put their road on their own property.
We're not telling him where he can put a road. He doesn't have a
Or
road.
when they have to do it, when they own an entire parcel.
But he can put a road wherever he wants to. I don't care if he puts it where he's at on that
That's
plat,
not
he
the
puts it
issue.
on the other
The
side.
issue is when.
When,
We should not be telling someone when to put a road in, when they've got it.
on the entire park, the whole.
They're not part of the zoning.
So just staff recommendations, like you said, take care of that plus the new plat.
Who gave the second? Mr. Reed, you withdraw your second?
I'll try a second.
You withdraw your motion? I'm going to read a new motion.
Whatever, yeah, I don't know.
Here's the new
nothing else.
motion. Approve the request to rezone 5.4 acres from 665 and 667 Sisters Ferry Road from AR1 to AR2 to allow the property to be combined and re-subdivided for the sale of a larger parcel with the stipulations recommended by staff. And the language put on the plat, read by our zoning administrator, given to her by our county attorney. Should read into the records. Do you have a motion?
So we
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Mr. Burdette. Mr. Vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
I'll abstain, I'm gonna vote either way.
Okay.
Big mess.
Mr. Local has
Don't
abstained.
make a map out of the road here.
With that abstention, we don't have unanimous, we look at second reading to the next.
Okay, who abstained?
Mr. Looker.
Okay.
So if we do second reading?
We would have to anyway with the
Have a
stipulation.
stipulation.
Okay. So we will do second reading next week. Okay? All right. That was easy, so we'll move to new business. Item 1, consideration to approve to accept new business for relation to terms of bench.
Does this have the four stipulations? I didn't.
Mr. Chairman, you probably need to add an agenda item, and that's the contract where we're going on down to extend the inspection period, because it's going to end before we meet, the second meeting in October.
We have a motion to amend the agenda we approved earlier to add an extension to the purchase contract with, what is that, man?
It's going to be new business number 12.
New business number 12. Got a motion? Okay. All right, first, motion by Mr. Boyd, second by Mr. Deloach to add that to our agenda, so we have a new agenda. All favor say aye. All opposed, no. And it's clear. We have the agenda, we'll get to it in a minute. So item 1 in new business, consideration to approve to accept a proposal and award a contract for professional services for Blue Jay Reservoir Line Extension 8, part of the Hesse Day, Bell and Deloach Incorporated.
Good evening, Fiona Charlton, purchasing agent. An invitation to bid was issued for professional services for the Blue Jay Road Waterline Extension A project. It was advertised in the usual places and sent to known vendors. A mandatory pre-bid meeting was attended by 6 companies. Bids were received from 5 of the 6, and the bid tab is in your packets. The bids were reviewed by EOM, who recommended awarding the contract to Hussey Bell, who were the highest ranked with the lowest fee at $68,450. As the county attorney has reviewed and approved the contract to form, and funding is available through SPLOST, staff recommend alternative 1. Any questions?
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve number 1.
Mr. Local, second by Mr. Deloach, approve alternative number 1. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Item number 2, consideration to approve addendum number 1 to the Effingham County travel policy.
Staff are requesting to amend the travel policy. The addendum will change the following. Part B, to state that travel will not be approved for employees who have announced their intention of resigning. Part C, removing references to pool cars, fleet maintenance, and the Director of Community Relations. And Part D, to reflect the use of the P card for lodging expenses and how to request a P card for travel if the employee does not have one. As there is no funding required and the county attorney has reviewed and approved to form the addendum, staff recommends alternative 1. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
On number 2, the travel policy, transportation. You got on there, Director of Community Relations. EOM, they work on them, but I think somebody in-house should handle cars, who gets them and all this kind of stuff.
We no longer have any pool cars, Commissioner Loper.
Ma'am?
We no longer have any cars. We no longer have pool cars that can be used.
But you got on here, directs employees, department heads to contact fleet maintenance or the Director of Community Relations to schedule a county car.
That part should have been removed.
Ma'am?
That part should have been struck through. We're trying to amend that. We're trying to take that part out because we no longer have pool cars and we no longer have a
So you're taking that part out altogether?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But it's not out of mind, so anyway.
I think it's the way it reads. All references to pool cars has been removed in paragraph B, so they're removing that paragraph. It's not saying they're changing or removing that.
All right.
If you actually read it, you'll see that it is.
That's all I have.
Do you have a motion for alternative 1?
Motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, Deloach, second by Mr. Burdette, to approve alternative number 1. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. It carries. Item number 3, consideration to approve 2 bids and issue 2 on-call contracts, primary to JD Heating and Air Incorporated, and the second to BOC Plumbing and Mechanical Incorporated to provide on-call HVAC services to the county.
In order to lock in an hourly rate for after-hours HVAC work or HVAC work that cannot be self-performed, the county put out a request for quote for on-call services. 2 bid packets were received, with the low bidder being JD Heating and Air, followed by Mock Plumbing and Mechanical. The bid tabs in your packets. Staff are requesting to issue an on-call contract to each vendor to ensure that the county's needs are met. When on-call work is required, the first call will be to JD Heating and Air, and if they are unable to perform the work for any reason, the second call will be to Mock Plumbing and Mechanical. The contracts will run from October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2020 and can be terminated for convenience with 7 days notice. The contracts have been reviewed and approved to form by the county attorney, and funding will be from the general fund as needed. Staff recommend alternative 1. Any questions?
Yeah, why would we want to pay, what's the scenario when we have someone go after hours? Like in most of our businesses, we have properties and
In the prison, the jail, any building that operates 24/7, if we call out Fred and Fred can't perform the work, he has somebody that he can call right away. He has a rate that's already locked in to perform that work.
rather than wait to do it in the morning, and that's just some legal reason why we got to do it.
He would, that's why he would go out first to evaluate it, and then if he needs it to be fixed right away, if it's an emergency situation, he has a company that he can call right away. If not, he can wait until the morning and he can get quotes. Or
Okay, as long as you understand that, just, we should never be paying these after-hour rates. It's got to be really emergency. Most of us at our house, it goes out that night, we come in the morning, I don't want to pay $20 an hour.
yeah, Fred understands that, sir.
It's high enough, just a regular rate.
Yeah, that's awful high rates too.
That's cheap.
Just don't call him then.
I see base charge, so the maintenance charge, is there a minimum hourly fee for this?
Maybe they got 120 standing around the clock. Is there a charge for just showing up? Or is it just going to be strictly by the hour?
By the hour, straight by the hour. So if they show up and they only stay 20 minutes, then they would charge us for that hour.
They charge us for 1 hour every time they come.
Yes.
Okay, that's the way it reads. Because most times the base charge is like $65 by the AC guys I use. They charge $65 for showing up and they charge them
Well, I said Fred would only call them if he deemed it absolutely necessary. He has the ability to, and between him and David, to fix or repair a lot of things until they can get regular hours, and then they can maybe get quotes from 2 or 3 other people. This is mainly for a dire emergency.
And we've done these before, Mr. Chairman, and it's very rare that we've ever had to use it in the past, so.
Is this contract, what's the conditions which we can terminate this contract?
7 days with convenient, at our convenience.
So we found a better rate. We can terminate it. All right, any other questions? We have a motion for alternative 1.
Make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Floyd, approve alternative 1. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Any carries?
Thank you.
Consideration, item 12, to amend the resolution of scheduled fees related to recreation.
Members of the commission, in May, the board approved recreation fee schedule and facility rental schedule. Staff was asked to review the fees and seek feedback from the recreation department and the recreation board and make recommendations for any changes. The changes we're recommending only affect the baseball tournament rentals. It's the first change we're recommending is a 4-field minimum to have fields 1 through 5 move to a $275 a day rental. If all 5 fields are rented, that would be $1375. Have Reddick Field move to a $375 a day rental. bringing the total to $1,750 per day per rental. On the expense side, for informational purposes, Clarence has looked at the staffing needs and feels he doesn't need one of the part-time staff. That would provide some savings, so it would actually keep us revenue positive at these new rates. They are lower than what was originally approved, but they still keep us above water to the tune of a little over $562 per day, not including revenues from concessions.
Very good, appreciate your work on this, and I'm assuming Recreation's good with it? Okay.
Oh, and just so you know, there's also additional fees for deposits, vendors, food trucks, and a fee for paying past 10 p.m. That's also a change.
Appreciate your work on this. Any other questions, discussion? Motion for alternative one.
Motion to approve alternative one.
Second. Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Whipper, to approve alternative one. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. It carries. Item number 5, consideration to approve a request for supplemental funding for more than outdated EFF 008 work order. Definitely number 8 work order. Number 6 related to Effingham Parkway.
Yes, sir. In September of 2014, the board approved a contract for preliminary engineering and project management for the design of Effingham Parkway. In May of 2019, the county learned of environmental issues that delayed the letting of the project past December 31st of 2019. As a result, additional requirements took effect that are set by both Georgia Department of Transportation and the Army Corps of Engineers. These additional requirements add additional work to preliminary design. There is still funds available, assuming we get the reimbursement that was promised us by GDOT for preliminary engineering design. So this should be reimbursable. The total estimate is $297,320.
And the key word there, you say estimate, this is not saying we'll necessarily expend $297,000, but these are the rates that they will use to determine each bill for the service they provide.
Correct, sir. And we'll go over with them the scope of work they do when they submit the invoices.
It might be good to do that up front. I know there's a detailed list of the items that you're going to be providing. And I was a little concerned about the dollars.
I can do that as well.
That seem to be on some of these projects at this point.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve all number 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, I'm sorry, Mr. Whipper. Second, Mr. Deloach, to approve alternative number 1. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. It carries.
Have we received any reimbursement on anything yet? I know there's been a position change and you found out was supposed to.
Yes, we've been struggling to get the contract from GDOT due to a technical issue with them. Their electronic contracting system. Hopefully we should have it resolved this week. Okay. That would allow us to submit all the previous invoices.
Okay.
Thank you. Item number 6, consideration to approve to submit a grant application to Rachel Gray Save Them All Grants Fund.
Good evening, Christy Carpenter, Finance Director. We are asking for approval to submit an application to the Rachel Ray Save Them All grant. We're asking for $20,000. There's no cost share requirement. The application deadline is October 4th, so quickly approaching. If awarded, the funds would be used for adoption initiatives and shelter intake prevention programs. So staff recommends alternative 1.
Is it $20,000?
Well, they will award up to $50,000 or 10% of your budget, so,
So I actually,
yes.
If we get 10,000, it'd be good.
That's
We don't
exactly
get all.
right. That's right.
You got it.
the motion for alternative number one.
Make a motion to approve alternate number 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Williams, second Mr. Deloach, to approve alternative one. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. Carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 7, consideration to approve and ratify new contract to furnish and install a new HVAC unit for jail block.
Fiona Carlton, purchasing agent. The HVAC unit for Joe Block F failed, and once it was determined it was no longer cost effective to continue repairs, an emergency contract was issued and ratified by the board on August 6, 2019. As of September 9th, the contractor had not started work, so a termination notice was sent and a contract was issued to the next low bidder, Mock Plumbing and Mechanical, in the amount of $22,103. The bid tab is in your packets. In an attempt to prevent any further delays, staff followed emergency policy and issued the contract with approval from the interim county administrator, the finance director and the purchasing agent. Staff are now requesting board ratification of the contract per policy. Any questions?
That's alternative one, she's recommended. Motion for alternative one.
Motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lowe, second Mr. Floyd, to approve alternative one. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. It carries. Item number 8, consideration to terminate the mini bulk product and equipment lease agreement with Univar and authorize the chairman to sign the letter of termination.
The county has an agreement in place with Univar for a 2,500 gallon tank for the storage of sodium hypochlorite for the wastewater treatment plant. The tank is failing and Univar have confirmed that it's unrepairable. They're having trouble locating a 2,500 gallon replacement tank and would like to change the tank size with a higher cost on deliveries. EOM has sourced another company to provide a tank and chemicals at a lower cost. Therefore, staff would like to terminate the contract with Univar. The letter of termination has been approved to form by the county attorney, and as such, staff recommend alternative 1. Any questions?
We can rent something for $20 a year, that's cheap, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Not as cheap as nothing. It's cheap.
The motion for alternative one.
Make a motion to approve alternate number 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Williams, second Mr. Williams, to approve alternative one. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. It carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Consideration to amend the purchase and sales contract between Savannah Abrasives and Filter Sand Corporation and the Board of Commissioners of Effingham County.
Mr. Chairman, in the April 2019, Effingham County entered into a contract to purchase the property at 216 Shady Oaks Drive in Guyton, Georgia. The agreement specified a 6-month due diligence period, which expires October 4, 2019. However, due to the complexities revolving around the environmental issues on the site, the county has requested an extension of the due diligence period for additional 6 months. Seller has requested that we provide language reimbursing for any pro rata share of taxes that are due as a result of the extension, and some language with regards to any sort of environmental remedial work done post closing of the property. This contract has been, extension has been reviewed by both the county attorney and our environmental attorney that we hired for this issue.
Any questions? The motion for alternative number one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Mr. Burdette. Alternative number one, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. Carries. Item number 10, consideration to approve the first reading of ordinance to amend Article 3, jump provisions, Section 3.8B of the Effingham County Code of Ordinance.
Okay, let's see if I can find a simple way to explain this. So So the last meeting, you approved an ordinance that was related to chapter 66. It was for this information, but the agenda, the staff report, and the information you received was to amend chapter 66 of the ordinance, but that's not where it's going to be put. So we need to do a cleanup here, to do the first and the second reading showing where it's actually going to be in the ordinance. And that's going to be under Article 3, General Provisions, Sections 3.8B. Does that make sense?
Nothing's changed other than the location
That's
within the
correct.
ordinance.
Yes, sir.
So alternative one is to approve the first reading to amend the Article 3 General Provisions, Section 3.88, that's the change.
8B.
I'm sorry, 8B, yeah, of the Effingham County Code of Ordinances.
Make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Kiefer to approve alternative number 1. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Carries. Item number 11, consideration to approve the second reading of the ordinance to amend Article 3, General Provisions, Section 3.8B of the Effingham County Code of Ordinances.
Make a motion to approve the second reading. Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Floyd to approve the second reading. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. And carries. We'll go to administrative reports. I'm sorry, item number 12 is extension. It does not pay contract. I'll address that.
Mr. Chairman, the board indicated agreement with the purchase and sale of real estate. The effective date was July 11th, 2019. With Renaissance Bank for their property. The inspection period is, the first inspection period is set in, I think it's October 8th, around 8th or 9th. So I wanted to bring it to the board's attention tonight. If you would like to extend that, you need to give the seller notice in writing, and they'll require an additional $15,000 to be held in escrow. That money will be returned if the board decides not to pursue the contract, and they decide that within the next 90-day period. Once we get outside of the next 90-day period, then that money's going to go hard.
And our city county manager is pursuing this with passion, so we don't know any reason why we want to extend. You know any reason why we want not want to extend this contract?
No, there's, I have no objection. I can't think of any reason.
Mr. Chairman, one thing I would like to see us do is keep ourselves accountable on the timeline, because as we see, 90 days goes by really quick. I don't know if we do that by, we set a workshop before one of our meetings here the next 90 days, or make an agenda item just so we know. Because I mean, we're definitely getting to the point where we need to have a pretty structured conversation, which I know a lot of information has been gathered, but.
That's a good point. I would, maybe this might be a mention to what you're asking, Mr. Roach. Can we get a time schedule that will be given to us at the next meeting to show we're going to have this information about this, we'll have a board workshop by this date, and get an agenda of dates so that we complete this hopefully 30 days prior to termination?
Yes, sir.
Where are we at with the appraisal?
I saw the email today that you were seeking an appraisal from someone. What was that? You did something about an appraisal on the bank.
Yeah, I literally just, I've been having a bear of a time getting someone to do a commercial appraisal on this, and I got a call back from someone who can do it. They're sending us a proposal on that. That really is the only step that remains on this. So hopefully, I'm going to tell him to expedite it, and that should easily allow us to meet these deadlines.
So you've had a meeting with the architect as well?
Oh, yes, and then I've also had a meeting with the architect who constructed the building just to go over potential use of programming. That was pretty positive.
I saw that email. That was good.
Commissioner Deutsch, would you have some days you could shoot him to get another proposal for the appraisal?
I mean, she's already done it, so, I mean,
Oh, it's already done.
well, she did the original one, so.
Oh, this guy's.
I guess it's only 20, but you had somebody else.
What?
Discussing what's doing it?
No.
Oh, are we talking about the appraisal?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's what had delayed it. Gussie can't do it just because of the scope of the commercial building. It's not really what she states she does, so she had recommended some other people as well.
So you pick someone?
Yes. But I am asking for a proposal first, just to make sure it's reasonable.
I think you've got some other recommendations.
I have another name too, but you really have.
Very good. So, we have a motion to approve the extension.
We have a motion to approve the 90-day extension.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Deloach, Mr. Hooper, can I add something to that?
We just need to add to authorize the finance director to cut a $15,000 check.
You can add that to the motion.
Motion second.
Yeah.
So adding to the motion to approve the extension for 90 days with the approval of $15,000 additional deposit.
You want me to send the red notice to them, is that okay?
Okay. Okay, the motion second, all in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Carries. That should complete our business. We will go to our reports from administrative staff.
Quick question for the appraisal. Lee, do you see an issue with whoever we decide to do the appraisal on Renaissance Bank if we forward them a copy of the previous appraisal? Do you see an issue with that?
I don't see an issue with that.
I mean, I think we'll be fine. I don't know if that helps speed it up, but I don't think it would hurt to,
I mean, you can ask, just to be certain, I mean, I will run it past, if Ms. needs to do that one,
I'm pretty sure she did the original. I was
so
thinking.
whoever did it, I mean, they just want to say, hey, we're going to forward this to the next appraiser.
There's, manager reports. Anything tonight as far as administrative report?
No, just, I've been sending out the daily reports. If you need anything in addition to those, just let me know.
Appreciate the information. Ms. Stephanie?
Just two quick items. You have that information in front of you. Getting to it. Springfield Central Historical Significance is what they're calling it. Our grants writer received an email from the Historic Preservation Division, and they would like to feature the Springfield Central site in their newsletter that's titled Reflections. So we kind of just wanted to let you know that they're wanting to do that. They're asking for a picture as well to include in that newsletter for that site. So all of the material, all of the information is there for you to review if you have any questions later. The only other thing I have is an appreciation dinner for the Extension Office. It's going to be Tuesday, October 22nd at 6 o'clock at their new location at Reading Elementary School. So I'm sure they're looking for some of you all to attend. And that's all I have.
Any other staff have anything from my fire chief or anyone? Okay. Anything for you here? Nothing more commissioners.
I don't have any.
Is it tomorrow or Thursday, the T-Splosh meeting in the cities?
Thursday.
Thursday? Okay. All right. I would definitely be there, but I'm leaving to go to Athens tonight. So I'm excited about that. Let's continue to roll forward. Hopefully we can stay on it. I think that's be very vital for the county and the future of the county.
And Tim, are we preparing any kind of presentation to line them up? I know they want to play, but
Just what I presented at the retreat, the potential list of sites, of projects and potential calendar. It really is a kind of a kickoff to get feedback.
Because one of the things we're gonna ask them is to start preparing a list, and there's a calendar. I guess that's gonna be the biggest item, is going over the calendar. Please have your project list back to us by
Right.
such a day. As many of us that can be there, we did, we need to advertise that so that, we need to advertise that so as many of us can be there, We may not have a forum,
What are we talking about, Thursday?
but Thursday meeting.
It's been advertised.
Okay, very good.
And where are we now on the future service delivery? I know there's been meetings there. I mean, are we good there, or is there more meetings coming forward?
Yes.
Okay.
We have, it's on the calendar, I don't know if it's-
There is another one, I think it's the 17th, I think.
17th. Yep, and I know we have a stipulation agreement that's been prepared, I haven't had a chance to review that, We probably need to review it on our 15th meeting before we go into that 17th meeting. Forms have been prepared, I know that, I gotta go through those, see what they look like.
No, the only, and I was gonna bring it up during the rec fees. I've had several people just asking how much money the concession stand makes. Do we have anything on that?
I don't have it with, like I said here.
And that's fine. I don't know what to say. You know, they say, well, does the county make money? And I'm like,
Yeah, we absolutely do, and actually.
I mean, I would hope so, but.
Yeah, we have a report on that, that's fairly recent, I know, I've read it, so I can send that out to y'all.
Perfect. That's it.
Just a couple of things. The Omni Tracks is almost finished with McCall Road, and we're trying to get the check for the rec part of it. And they agreed to do that. They would do it like here at the board meeting and present it to us, which I thought would be a great idea, especially for the community, them living up to their agreement and so forth. We'll do that at one of our meetings, if that's okay. And I'd like to have that money in hand and then work with the rec department to come up with something nice for the park there and move forward with that. Secondly, a lot of activity going on. One of the things that I've been hit with lately is Crystal Drive. It's a very curvy road. It's in between, in other words, at McCall and Goshen. And a lot of people are using it as a cut-through street. It currently has a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit signs through there. They would reduce that. If they got a petition to do that to 25, we could initiate some kind of study. We could see if we could bring those down to 25 miles per hour. Driving through there, it's not even safe to drive 35 miles an hour. It's hard to do.
That's on a lot of these roads I'm having calls about people cutting through the speed, and I don't know what we can do.
But this one,
We can't enforce what we have posted as it is.
we're not gonna be able to police that.
Right, and they're just aware of that.
It's just gonna be encouragement, is what it's gonna be.
Exactly.
I have a question, because I had emails and calls from the same person I saw that was emailing you as well. And I can appreciate their concern, but I have a hard time believing people are cutting on Crystal when Stevens is a straight shot. I just, that's what I accept.
It's probably somebody that lives on there.
I think it's people living
Yeah, it could be
there.
a
No
young driver.
one would do this in the right time. When they
Yeah,
zoom.
unless they got away by accident, and I thought this was a good cut, and just.
It's a good one once.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I've had the same experience, but on the same token, it is, to me, it felt unsafe to try to drive the speed limit through there. It might not be bad to have a different posting. That's okay.
do we have
It's only two signs.
Do we have more residents besides the one?
Yes, there's probably 30 signatures on that petition.
Well, I know in the past, we've kind of done a semi-study, if you will, something just to see if it warrants some kind of basis.
Could be either the sheriff department or UAM.
Can I suggest we get, because that's what I did last time, Mr. Baltimore, I tried with the sheriff, I would suggest we give that petition to the sheriff. Does that sound okay? Let him look at it and make a recommendation. And one of our meetings, express to us what his thoughts are.
What I've done is I've called and asked them to patrol the roads that we're having problems on, and also they have this portable speed measuring, where it flashes if you're going
That's
fast.
speed, yeah.
And those tend to be, slow down. But there's actually, I don't know if you know from the Kimberly plant today, some that are sold probably, they're permanent markers. It says a speed limit, and as you approach it, at like 200 feet, and I've actually asked Kristen about this, it'll give you your speed readout and start flashing and everything. Those tend to make you slow down as well. I know we'll look at maybe investing in those in some areas, but
Well, they tend to mention putting the wires, I don't know what they're called, the terminology is across the road to kind of measure the speeds through there to see exactly how, without that flashing thing, 'cause you can see the flashing thing, you're gonna slow down. So you're not gonna get good data.
Not the first time. I mean, you might the first time, the second time.
Second time probably not, hey, whatever, but if you do see that flashing thing, you're gonna slow down.
Now, I do know if it's on the radar permit, it does have to go to the state. Is that right? Correct.
They, in the email, you read that, he's not interested in having a patrol ring, he knows there's an issue with that, but just giving somebody.
It feels like it'll help slow it down.
Exactly, and there's two signs. So
Let's get a sheriff to speak to that, if there's a problem, I don't know why we can't. Come
So
back and make a motion.
forward that to Sheriff Duffy.
I don't think so, get his input since he's got a patrol. I
Can
guess
I-
we would need a resolution from us to change the speed, is that right?
We do ordinance, yes.
I want to piggyback back off the McCall Road. When, are they going to remove the silt fence? Where do we stand? Because I've had some people asking, do we, sorry.
We should be getting close.
More than what I asked.
We actually got a request about that today. Liberto has, Kristen Eva, I'm sorry. Liberto has already contacted their engineer to see if they've met their requirements for their engineer first before removing that. We also had a site visit out there last week, and then our staff made the recommendations for a few deficiencies that we thought needed to be correct. One of them was erosion control too, so working on that right now. But I will have them send out an email to Tim, and then he can share that as far as the date is concerned.
So we're withholding the final payment to that.
Yeah, we sent our deficiencies last week. We're waiting on their responses right now.
just a quick heads up, I've had some calls about the chip mill out in Melbourne. First, there was a problem with sawdust, and they had an issue with a piece of equipment. They put in a vacuum system, and now I'm getting complaints about noise issue because of that. I had a gentleman out there that's collecting a petition, wants something done about it. I've talked with Tim, we've sent our code enforcement folks out there, and I think you said the sound measurements came back in limits.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they were close at some times within maybe 3 or 4 points, but none of the readings went above the residential receiving requirement of 50 decibels.
And I don't know what we can do to continue to get complaints from the entire neighborhood. I mean, if there are a lot of older people out there, they just don't like to hear that droning, whatever this new equipment is. So I don't know if we have to have further communication with the plant or the mill to see if they can balance out the equipment, or if there's all kinds of buffer systems they can put on equipment. We have to do with that out there as well.
But if they're within the decimals, can you really require high chain ordinance?
No, but to keep peace with that community, because
You might-
the gentleman that's talking to me says he's not stopping.
I mean, it's,
So we might try to get some negotiation on their behalf.
Yeah, just to try to get, there's ways to muffle equipment.
And they've been very friendly to work with their environmentalists and our code enforcement department. So we'll certainly sit down with them and see if we can work out anything.
That'd be great. All right, anything else? We have a need for executive session?
no, sir.
That's wonderful.
Wow.
Do we have a motion to adjourn? Executive session?
We got-
No,
We didn't have an executive. We didn't have
Oh,
an
that's
executive.
listed. Okay, please. Okay, so motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Deloach to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. We adjourn.